Hello everyone, I am Left, and welcome to Game 2 of my analysis series of Hammers vs Gankstars, and let's start talking about the draft right off the bat. So, first bans were Ringo and Lyra. Gankstars took away Ringo, understandable. Lyra was taken away by Hammers. Now, Gankstars did not ban Lyra or Adagio because they wanted to either pick Lyra or Adagio as their first pick for the draft. Lyra and Adagio are incredibly important power picks right now in high elo drafting and competitive, so it only makes sense that Gankstars would take away the Ringo because A, starting all over is a very good Ringo, and B, they want to have one of those two healers in the draft. So, Gankstars takes Adagio right off the bat. Hammers is going to take Lance, partly because they know that Rekt is a god on Lance. And then Vox goes off the table, and so does Finn. So, Gankstars is really looking to limit the options that starting all over has to play weapon carries because weapon carries are his specialty. Baron is picked by Gankstars, and then Skye is picked by Hammers, Glaive is picked by Gankstars, and then Koshka is picked by Hammers. Now, if I had to call the draft here before the game started, I would call it for Hammers, no doubt. They counterpicked this perfectly. Gankstars revealed that they were going to be putting Iraqi Zoro on the Baron before the draft even was in its last pick. Now, Gankstars has become known for running Iraqi Zoro on Baron, which means it's kind of to their deficit to be on the A side of draft. So, Hammers perfectly counterpicks with the Koshka. The weapon Skye is debatable. They probably could have played like Kestrel or somebody else. But Weapon Skye is okay. So starting is going to be on the Weapon Skye, T-Tigers on the Koshka, and Veins on the Lance. Wait, that is Veins. No. Oh, I'm stupid. It's Chicken. And then for Gankstars, Rekt is going to be playing Adagio, Xenotech is going to be on the, once again, Crystal Glaive, and Iraqi Zoro is going to be playing Baron. So, in this game, the story of this game is going to be, can Gankstars weather the storm and get the Baron up to where he needs to be? Because the amount of crowd control and combos and dive that Hammers has is absolutely off the charts compared to Gankstars. Adagio, no movement abilities. Glaive, afterburn, but it only gets on a low cooldown once he gets those two items. Iraqi Zoro on the Baron, literally the slowest hero in the game, but if he can get to his jump jets overdrive and be in an actual good spot when it comes to gold and kill death ratio, then he's a little bit more mobile, but still very, very slow hero. That's Baron. So, Hammers definitely has the edge in this draft, and I want to call out Gankstars' draft here. So if you watched my last video about Game 1, I criticized the fact that Hammers had a comp with a big movement disparity between the Glaive and the Finn and the Ringo. Gankstars is now in the same boat that Hammers was last game. They're going to have Xenotech on the Glaive diving to try to punt somebody back into Iraqi Zoro. But if he doesn't get the perfect punt, he's on an island, 1 versus 3. Because chances are Iraqi Zoro isn't going to use his jump jet's ability to go right into the enemy team, and Rekt has no movement abilities. So Gankstars has painted themselves into a corner here, falling into the same draft trap that Hammers did last game. But anything can happen in Vainglory, so let's go move on to the gameplay clips and see if Gankstars can pull this one out. This first gameplay clip is nothing special, just a really unlucky play by Chicken. He looks into the bush and does not see Xenotech, and Xenotech comes up into the bush right as Chicken is leaving the bush, so it happens to everybody, and it's just going to be an early kill for Gankstars that will help them weather the early game storm. T-Tigers playing Koshka has incredibly fast clear speed when it comes to farming. So what we're going to see in this game is a macro rotation from Hammers that is just consistent with the comp that they're running, and we're going to see that in the next clip even more, so just get ready to learn from that. You see him just taking the Elder Treant here, picking up a gold lead. So this clip, Hammers is starting their macro play, their macro play plan here, and they're forcing Xenotech to rotate out of his own jungle. since they're playing a Baron in the lane, and it needs to be ramped up late game scaling. He's really weak early game. Iraqi Zoro needs to be babysitted by Rekt most of the time. Keep in mind, Xenotech only has a Stormguard banner right now. He can't fend for himself, even if it was only T-Tigers coming after him, and not T-Tigers and Chicken. So, T-Tigers and Chicken have the entire jungle to themselves right now. Now, all of Gankstars is going to rotate towards Xenotech, and they are going to go as 3 and try to do a little bit of counter jungling, but the gold lead stands. T-Tigers is getting an immense amount of gold right now. Now, Gankstars is going to rotate away. T-Tigers is going to go up to the lane, but, so Gankstars is taking a little bit of Hammer's jungle right now, but that leaves them 2v3 and a very liable target for T-Tigers. Notice where Xenotech is right now. He's stealing a little bit of farm from T-Tigers and the rest of Hammers. But look at Gankstars jungle. Gankstars jungle is already back up from when T-Tigers stole it all last time. He's just going to go straight into Gankstars jungle again after killing Iraqi Zoro. And then he's going to go straight from Gankstars jungle right back to his own jungle. Next clip is just going to be a very heads-up play from T-Tigers, or not T-Tigers, a very heads-up play from Chicken. They get the easy crowd control combo onto Iraqi Zoro, and Xenotech is going to rotate up and try to kill all of those sweet, juicy, low-health targets there, but we're going to go into slow motion as this is like 10% speed, so sorry if it looks bad. But watch Chicken 123. His fountain activates before Xenotech afterburns. This is seriously, now it doesn't help that Xenotech punted the minion, but this is very, very heads-up play by Chicken123, and that's why he is like Vainglorious Silver Gold, whatever he is. It's just great play from him. I can't praise his roam enough in this game. He just did great on a lance that usually falls off in the very late game. This next clip is going to be Hammers aggressing onto Iraqi Zoro and killing him very, very easily there. So I want you guys to think about how many CC abilities. If you don't know what CC means, it means crowd control. It means like stuns, slows, negative effects. They only used 2 crowd control abilities there. They used the Impale into the Githian Wall from Chicken123 on Lance. So they're rationing their crowd control abilities so that they can kill everybody under this turret. Now comes the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. Xenotech comes in to try to punt him off of Rekt, but it's going to be to no avail because all this means is that Xenotech is going to die before Rekt. Hammers took this fight perfectly here, and it's because they rationed their crowd control abilities enough so that they could take out all of the targets. Now Xenotech he came to them on a silver platter. He probably should have just went back to base. But nonetheless, it's still a great fight for Hammers, and all it is for them now is to just juggle the turret aggro enough so that they don't die. Now, you see it's on Chicken right now, but he's just going to roll away, and he's going to survive on a little bit of health. They're about to kill Rekt, but the play from Chicken123 is perfect. He knows how long he needs to be taking turret aggro, he knows how long he can be taking turret aggro, and he shifts it over to his team at the perfect time, rolling away, and it was going to allow Hammers to take an ace and a turret in this fight. So this next fight, Hammers is going to be really aggressing onto Xenotech, landing the Impale in the Githian Wall. He escapes on like 2 health. So I want to pause it right here as Starting lands the Death from Above straight onto Iraqi Zoro's head. Now, if you were Iraqi Zoro and Rekt, what would you be thinking right now? If I were them, I would be thinking, wow, we should really be in our own fountain right now because our entire peel for the Koshka our entire peel for the purpose of the Baron is gone. Xenotech is in base. Iraqi Zoro, yes, he's going to have his jump jets in a second, but he's stunned, slowed by Death from Above, and has a Koshka that is literally 1 second away from Pouncy funning him. Lance has Impale, Starting has Surrey Strike. This is just such a bad play. They should have just disengaged the moment Xenotech took that much damage. So as you can see, this is going to play out very poorly for Gankstars because they had to disengage. All their peel was gone in the form of Glaive. Iraqi Zoro is going to go down. Xenotech's going to get a kill, which is a lot of bounty, but he is also going to go down. And now that Starting has a lot of breaking point stacks, 16 in fact, he is just going to make very short work of Rekt, and this is actually going to allow Hammers to take 2 turrets. So, In short, you need to disengage if all of your peel has already died or taken a lot of damage and had to go back. This next fight is going to happen when the camera's on the Kraken, there's a big fight going around the gold mine. You're going to see the Baron go down to T-Tigers on Koshka. So the key of this fight is that even though the Crystal Miner is there, the whole team of Gankstars, they just can't really do anything once Iraqi Zero on this Baron has gone down. Think of how in game 1, if starting went down to the Alpha on Ringo, there was like literally nothing else that Hammers could do to fight, because all they had was a crystal cooldown, a glaive, and their roamer, who I forget who he was. But so Gankstars is going to actually, I think, escape with their lives from this fight, but it just shows you how one-dimensional their comp is, and it's just, again, the movement disparity between the glaive and the rest of the comp. So in this next fight, Kraken is going to go down to the side of Hammers here, but I don't want to talk about the Kraken. I want to talk about the position that Iraqi Zero is in right now. If you're Iraqi Zero right now, you're saying, finally, I have space to actually do damage. This is perfect. He's going to be able to stack his breaking point here. T-Tigers is not in a good spot right now. And it's just like this is just a very big moment for Gankstars, because they are actually finally in a spot where Iraqi Zero isn't going to get instantly dived and deleted. He is going to be actually being able to stack his breaking point here, and regardless of the fact that Hammers took the Kraken, this is going to be the turnaround for Gankstars, where they can finally say, we have a chance in this game. We're finally outscaling that Koshka, and as long as we play our cards right, we can actually start to win some of these fights. So as the fight unpauses, we're going to see Iraqi Zoro move forward even more. He's actually going to block the Atlas Pauldron there, but he's going to get stunned. He's actually going to take a Yummy Catnip Frenzy, take out starting, and they're able to take out T-Tigers while the Yummy Catnip Frenzy is on Iraqi Zoro. So, what did we learn from that fight? The Baron is finally starting to scale up, and if you actually put him in a good position where he won't get deleted instantly, he will win fights for Gankstars. Gankstars still has a chance in this game. They're not out of this yet. As long as they all as long as they all perfectly perform their functions, Iraqi Zoro doing damage, Xenotech peeling for him, and Rekt giving the heals, this game could very easily go to Gankstars. So next fight here is going to be really interesting. What's going to happen here is T-Tigers is going to jump onto the side of Gankstars and get a really good Atlas Pauldron off onto all of the members of Gankstars. Iraqi Zoro, though, is in a very good position. He's got a glaive peeling for him with his afterburn at the ready. He's got Adagio Rekt in front of him, or he's just kind of tanking up starting all over his basic attacks, but I mean, he's building BP stacks. But Iraqi Zoro is in a great spot here, and Xenotech is just putting himself out there in a bad spot, waiting for T-Tigers to jump and get impatient. T-Tigers does exactly what Glaive wanted him to do, gets impatient, uses Yummy Catnip Frenzy onto the Glaive, and this is go time for Iraqi Zoro. The Koshka is immobilized, hitting a target with Yummy Catnip Frenzy that they don't care about. They don't care about the Glaive. And this is just Iraqi Zoro's go time to hit a lot of damage down. He's going to take out Koshka and then Sky. They're not going to be able to find the Lance, I don't believe, but this was a great fight for Gankstars because they baited out the Yummy Catnip Frenzy and made T-Tigers get impatient with it. So now Gankstars is rotating up through the top of the jungle, and Iraqi Zoro is going to be in a good spot once again. He blocks the Atlas Pauldron, and Xenotech has provided incredibly good peel for Iraqi Zoro. T-Tigers is actually going to go down here, I believe. Either that, or he's going to be very, very low and in a must-run-away state of mind, because he has attempted to dive the Baron and completely failed. Rekt has healed and buffed, and Xenotech has tried to get in there. He's done as much damage as he can with that Aftershock, and Iraqi Zoro has been successfully protected from this wave of attack by Hammers. So Iraqi Zoro is just in this great spot right now. He's building his breaking point stacks, does not have the attack slow on him. He lands a big ion cannon onto a lot of people here, and this is just a good fight for Gankstars off the bat. So as it unfreezes, Wrecked is somehow, or not Wrecked, Chicken123 is going to get somehow separated from his team, and we're actually going to see Gankstars take a win in this fight. So, as it unpauses here, what we're going to see is T-Tiger's running away, and he's actually not going to go down, but very close to it. Starting and T-Tigers are just going to disengage, and Gankstars is going to eventually take down Chicken123. It's going to take a while, but they are going to win this fight and clean it up, and this is going to be cracking for Gankstars. You never would have thought it from how the early game went in this game, but Gankstars is going to take the Kraken, and this signals a big point in the game for them. They are finally coming back. Now, they do have a chance here, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out. Next big fight here is going to be in the jungle once again, and we're going to see Gankstars very heavily aggressing onto the side of Hammers. Starting is going to block that stun, and there's just going to be a huge fight going on. Iraqi Zero gets the Yummy Catnip Frenzy onto him. He has the Atlas Pauldron onto him. Now, Glaive Xenotech is in a very isolated spot right now from his team. There's no healing coming in. The fountain has already been used. Wrecked is item silenced from a Null Wave Gauntlet sent out by Chicken. And he is actually just going to die to starting all over here. So, Wrecked is item silenced. Iraqi Zero is attack slowed. Just came out of Yummy Cat Frenzy stun. Xenotech is about to go down. You might just think this is kind of over for Gankstars. But what they do here to try to bring this fight back is actually pretty good. Now I mentioned we are going to see Xenotech go down here, and that doesn't mean the end of the world for Gankstars, although it might look at that from Iraqi Zoro's energy and Rek's health, and okay. Just gonna have to wait for this to unpause here. I probably put a little bit too much freeze frame in this clip. So, here we go. We're going to see it unpause here. Xenotech is going to go down, and suddenly Rekt and Iraqi are on the defensive. Gonna go into slow motion here as Iraqi is going to get another heal from Rekt in a second. He actually gets a protector contract, or wait, I can't tell if that was the protector contract, but he is going to get a big rocket on a starting and then instantly turn to get a lucky crit onto very lucky crit onto, who was it there? T-Tigers. And now, of course, Chicken is trying to stall. He's not going to get all of the stall off, but he is eventually going to go down. And yeah, so a big fight for Gankstars. They actually ended up winning that one, and now they have the Kraken pushing all the way down to the base of Hammers. So Gankstars' Kraken push is do or die for both teams. Well, it's actually just do or die for Gankstars, because if they lose this fight and get aced, Hammers will go all the way down to their base and win. So what we're going to see here is Iraqi Zero getting a lot of good blocks onto the CC of Hammers. He blocks the Impale, he blocks the Atlas Pauldron, he blocks, he dodges the Death from Above. So you might think, yeah, this is going great for Gankstars. But watch Iraqi Zoro as he is going to take a Yummy Catnip Frenzy to the face from T-Tigers. And the follow-up is there. Rekt gets stunned out of his verse again. Xenotech is going to almost go down to Sky again. And watch right here as Gankstars is all very low, and Rekt is going to go down, and now that they are in a big choke point with the Lance bearing down on them for the Impale, Ion Cannon isn't going to do enough because Iraqi Zoro is building weapon power. So the downfall of that fight is that Iraqi Zoro used all of his blocks before the Yummy Catnip Frenzy came out, and Xenotech was off doing his own offensive thing rather than trying to peel for Iraqi Zoro. When you're playing this kind of comp against a CC heavy comp like Lance and Koshka, you have to be mindful of what you are using your blocks on. You can't just use your block on Impale, because then you won't have it for Yummy Catnip Frenzy. Hammers goes down to win this game, and that would be it. They just race the Kraken, they take the base of Gankstars. So that's it for the gameplay clips, guys. Let's talk about some overarching concepts we can learn from this game. So in this game, we saw Gankstars fall victim to the same thing that Hammers did in the last game, the disparity in movement abilities on their comp. They had the Baron, which gets pretty mobile in the late game, but until then is actually just incredibly slow and sluggish. They had the Adagio, which literally can't move without tier 2 boots. And then, of course, they had the Glaive, the hyper-mobile guy that needs to have support unless he hits the perfect afterburn. Many times, Xenotech just went right into starting Oliver's reflex block on the Sky, and that was just bad for Gankstars, because then Xeno is stuck on an island trying to fight against a weapon power Sky that's quickly building breaking point stacks. He can only do significant damage when his skills are off cooldown, because all he has is a Storm Crown and an Aftershock. So it's just Gankstars fell into the trap of the movement disparity between the between the Glaive and the Adagio and the Baron. Like I said before, same thing that happened to Hammers last time, and Hammers really counterpicked well in this game. Now, Gankstars probably shouldn't have picked the Baron until last, but I guess it wouldn't have mattered because Hammers had the last pick anyways. They still would have picked Koshka. Maybe they just shouldn't have picked the Baron at all. I mean, they tried to make it work. They came pretty close to making it work, in my opinion. Iraqi Zoro's skill on this Baron is very unmatched. Haven't seen anybody play it like he does, and he almost pulled it back in the late game against a very, very good and well-playing team of Hammers. You can tell what kind of comps Hammers is in their element on, and it is comps like these. When they're playing single carry comps trying to prop everything onto starting, no offense to him, but he's only 13. His brain is only like halfway developed right now. Your brain doesn't fully develop until your 20s. Like, there's got to be some stress there when you're playing, when you're 13 years old playing in a premier esports league and you have to solo carry, and your team is all set up around you. So it's these comps that I think Hammers really thrives on, and we will have to see what they do in Game 3. Expect Game 3 to be done on Thursday or Friday. I'm hoping to get it out then. And then if TSM continues their reign of terror in the Vainglory 8, I'll probably make an entire video just on them. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, learned a lot about Vainglory and competitive skill sets and whatever I'm trying to teach you. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next video.